Okay, well, welcome back to Hitting 50. Next episode. Welcome back to the next episode of Hitting 50. The aim of the game today is hopefully we're going to get this car started. So what I'm going to be looking at is fuel delivery, get the car sorted, fire up some fuel, obviously the ignition. I've got no distributor cap, leads, etc. So I've got an electronic one to fit. So we're going to have a bit of a play with that today, and let's see if we can get this car started. By the way, I just want to say very sorry for the length of time it's took to put this video out. Since the last video, my mother-in-law's moved house. We've gutted that house and redecorated and fitted new flooring and finally got her in, and then as soon as we got her in, the dreaded flu hit. So week off, bedridden for a week with the flu, just getting back over it. Then we've had Christmas, so Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope you've all had a good one. Filming this in between Christmas and New Year 2024, and hopefully we can get this car running before the start of the new year. That's my main aim. Once that's done, I will then start on stripping it down, replacing bits, getting bits sorted, tidying it up, hopefully getting it back on the road sometime in 2025. That is the aim. So let's get on with it. Okay, so I'm starting with the distribution, electronic ignition. So I've got just disconnected the coil there. I've got 12, check with the, I've got 12 volt to the right hand side of the coil. I'm not sure myself what this bit is, but it doesn't come with the new one, so I don't know, it's the ballast. I'm assuming it doesn't need the ballast in the new version. It is non-ballast, but I suppose we shall see what happens when I put the new one in. This is the new one. Didn't that spark? I'm assuming it's going to be the same side connectors, as I cannot see any reason why it wouldn't be. So again, just connect them up, and we'll see. I'm not even sure that one might be fine, to be honest, and obviously you've got a distributor without distributor cap and leads, but I just wanted to change it all, so I just bought this complete kit. So we'll give it a go and see what the crack is after that. Okay, so this is not something I've ever done before. I did have a Ford Escort many years ago in which we had a bit of a play about with the distributor cap, replacing rotor arm, etc., but I've never replaced the whole lot. So, I've set my engine at top dead centre. Not sure whether you can see that, make it out on that pulley because it's a bit rusty, but that's top dead centre. I've checked the number 1 cylinders at the top. I've connected up my new coil, so you can see there all the existing connectors. I have put that ballast resistor, whatever it may be, on there just in case. I've pulled out the old distributor, put the new one in, bit of a faff on, we've got it in. I'm not too sure, I don't know if you can see, it doesn't seem to be sitting tight on one side against the housing, but that's as tight as I can get it. I've tried wiggling it, pushing it, tapping it a little bit with a hammer to see if it would go down that little bit. It won't. Sorry, hammer and a block of wood. I wasn't hitting it with a hammer, but it's tight. It's tightened up the screw. Rotor caps on, firing order is 1432, so I have starting position here, which is 1, anti-clockwise, so it's 1, 3, 4, and then 2. So that's where I'm up to. What I'd like to do now is I'm going to connect the, I believe the king lead, I think it's called. Let's put that on there, and then we'll turn it over and see if I get a spark. There will be a spark or an explosion. Either way, it's going to be some entertainment. So bear with us 2 seconds, I'll get everything set up and we'll have a look to see whether I can get any spark. Okay then, the wiring is a pure guesswork. So, oops, wobbly floor. Let's see what happens when I turn the ignition. Do we get spark? There it goes. Find the key. Do I see a spark? Do I get a spark? Anybody tell us? We'll have to play that back and see if we get a spark. Okay, so now we've got spark, ignition's there. I'm not sure that's 100% whether it's right or not, but I'm certainly getting spark, especially definitely on one plug-in anyway. So hopefully that says the rest are working. I'm going to focus now on the fuel side of things. Carburetors are all set up there. I've got a video, I'll just insert the footage that I've done putting that all together. So now what I need to wire up, well not wire up, let's just say connect up with some sort of fuel, just pipeline, something like that, just to see if we can get fuel to the carbs. I need to put oil in the dampers and then we shall go and get some fuel and see whether or not we can actually get a start, which would be, I'd be over the moon if I can get any sort of spark, even a cough, anything to try and get these started. Right, makeshift fuel tank, got fuel line running down, going into the carbs. I've got quite a severe leak coming out the bottom of the float bowl and the needle, the jet at the bottom, so I'm just improvising at the minute. I'm just going to try and give it a turn over, see what happens. I know the washer's perished on that one, it must be, so I need to have another look at that. But let's just see what happens there. We'll strap these in, go for the ride and see what happens. If it starts, it will be loud because there is no exhaust. The hell was that? That was that. Joke. So that big potholes. Eating from At this point, I thought it was possibly wise to stop doing this, given that we were getting explosions and I had dripping fuel. Backfiring. Okay, so we're back at it. It's a new day now, and for another couple of attempts off camera just to try and get this running, I've changed the timing. I think the timer was out originally, so rotate the engine 180 degrees, reset up the plugs to the right firing order, not getting a backfire like I was on the original attempt, which is always good. Obviously wired up the fuel again, plumbed it all in, but I'm still getting fuel pouring out the bottom of the float on the jet pipe from the float bowl on the rear carb. Tried to do a bit of a bodge with a bit of a rubber O-ring, but it's still peeing out, so obviously it's not providing fuel, and it's also a bit dangerous because it drips straight onto the exhaust. And seeing as I haven't got a full exhaust, I've just got the manifold. When it was backfiring, as you'll see in the video earlier, it was actually sparking. So what I don't want to do is blow the bloody car up before I even get a chance to fixing it. So I've ordered some parts. I have to wait for them to come. I've tried it again, even with it leaking. I just put a cloth underneath. It sort of was a bit hesitant, the engine. It wasn't quite firing, so I'm not sure if there's something else not quite right. But until I get that fuel leak fixed, I'm not going to muck about with it because I don't want to be going up in flames. So what I have done in the meantime is I've jacked the car up. I've want to have a look and see exactly how bad it is underneath. Obviously when I bought the car I was advised that the castle rails need replacing on both sides. Obviously I've took the headlight out there. There's a few bits of rust there. Obviously needs tidying up. I'm not too worried about that. But from having a look underneath, I am a little bit like, wow, is this a little bit more than I can do? Do I need to be actually getting somebody else to have a look? So I'll show you in a second. So we'll start at the front of the car and coming along. This is what I'm working with. So keep going down. Obviously I'll get a wire wheel on it at some point. Just first glance. And it's not looking the best. The rest of the car underneath doesn't seem to. Well, I've got a canny oil leak off the bottom of the gearbox there, but the chassis rails seem okay. But again, as we go over on the far side, it's not as bad as on the driver's side, but it's still pretty dire. So we shall have to wait and see how much I could get done once I clean it up a bit. But the rest of it all seems solid. There. Back end's just as crusty as well. I think there's a few bits and pieces I will definitely be just replacing rather than trying to repair. But in the meantime, gotta work with what you've got. Oh yeah, I'll have to have a look into this and see if it's something I think I can do, or whether I put it out to a garage to have a look at. Hello there. Yeah, it's several weeks later. Now it's the end of January. Obviously last time I think I filmed was between Christmas and New Year. Didn't get anywhere near the getting the engine started. After the last video I showed, but last clip, I think I come back a week later, tried to start it again. Again, nothing was happening. I checked my power, and for some reason, the ignition switch live to the relay had stopped working. No continuity, just wasn't putting any power, so I've replaced that. Again, that temporarily replaced it. Obviously, I'll do it better when I get around to doing everything properly. And then I thought, oh no, I'll test for spark. No spark. Yet I had spark previously. So I've done a test on all the AccuSpark stuff, as is per the instructions on Tinternet. So these are the instructions. So I've went through all of this, and I'm not getting any spark after I connect the module. So I had a look at the module, and I don't know whether it's, I imagine it's been like that when I've had a look. One of the screws on the bottom screws that locates it into the distributor, it just wouldn't tighten up. So I've contacted AccuSpark, the seller, which happened to be AccuSpark. Been in touch with them, and they're sending out a new module. So there's not really anything I can do in relation to getting this car started until I get that, and then we'll have another play with it and see if we can get it going. As you can see, I've got my little fuel line rigged up. Obviously there's no fuel in it at the minute until I can get ready to go. And then we'll have another bash at it once I got spark. So until then, I bid you farewell, and as soon as I can get that and I can check for spark, and we'll get back on this test of getting this bloody car running. Once it's running, I'm thinking I'm going to strip it down, give it a good old clean, painted, obviously repair the rust. You'll see obviously earlier in the video the rust underneath. I've got my castle rails there. Obviously I'll have a look at how I put them on, and then we'll sort of go from there. I've started cleaning up inside, stripping the old carpet out, cleaning the floor. I found a nice little patch there in the corner where some of the floor's going. It's not too bad. I think I'll get away with just a couple of little patches rather than replacing the whole floor. The rest of it seems fairly solid, but I won't know till I get that sound deadening off. Although underneath looks quite good. So yeah, that's it for now. I'll be back soon. Cheers now. Please like and subscribe.